Let's start with Tua and his contract. Okay, so your opinion on Tua and the contract the Dolphins have given him and the contract that he wanted, and I guess your opinion on Jordan Love as well. I kind of feel like the two contracts and the situations were kind of playing out in tandem. What are your opinions on both of those?
They were playing out in tandem because Jordan Love and Tua are both represented by the same agency. So, like, when one domino fell, the next one quickly fell. I'm a much bigger fan, though, of the Packers giving Jordan Love that contract than I am the Dolphins giving Tua their contract. Now, this is when all the Dolphins fans, all your listeners, goes rabble, rabble. We hate Troll and Volin. I think the Dolphins had to do it with Tua. I think it was the best of a bunch of bad options. I go back to the Giants 2 years ago with Daniel Jones. They made him kind of play out his fifth-year option. And every week, it was such a distraction. Is he going to be with the team? Is this game, is this the goodbye for Daniel Jones? Or did he just secure his long-term commitment? Like, going into the season for Tua on his fifth-year option would have been such a distraction. This way, at least you present a united front. We are all in now with Tua. This is our guy. You don't want to start over if you're the Dolphins. You've been a successful team. You've built a good thing the last 2 years. I still have big doubts about whether Tua, now that he's getting paid like a top 5 quarterback, I have questions about whether he can be a guy who can lift everyone else around him. We all know the 1-loss record against teams with winning records, the playoff record, all that. And frankly, giving Tua the contract now starts the clock a year sooner. They've played it out, signed him next year. You're probably not able to get out from that contract until 2027 or 28. Now this year, you've got the contract done. It starts the clock, I think, 1 year sooner for Tua. So I don't think the Dolphins are thrilled about paying all that money to Tua, but I think it was the best of a bunch of bad options for them.
And what about now that relationship, Tua McDaniel, it's there. To your point of that clock starting, I think the McDaniel clock starting, and he's on no hot seats, Bill. I'm not saying that at all, but is McDaniel that guy? Because we spoke about Tua. People call you a Tua hater. What about McDaniel? Is he a championship type coach?
Yeah, I think absolutely the same questions will persist for Mike McDaniel as they do for Tua. No question. The Dolphins from September through November are a juggernaut. Their offense is, one of the best and most exciting in the NFL. They run up the score. They blow teams out. They put up 70 points against the Broncos. But then come December and January, 2 years in a row, the Dolphins have frozen. They lose key games. They can't beat teams with winning records. They had that horrible loss against the Titans last year late in the season. They haven't been able to get home playoff games. They've had to go on the road. I give the Dolphins a little bit of a mulligan for 2 years ago when Tua got hurt. Last year, obviously, I know going on the road, playing in those frigid temperatures in Kansas City, not an easy assignment. But, Mike McDaniel, look, he definitely got the Dolphins back to a level of respectability that shouldn't be poo-pooed down there. To go to the playoffs 2 years in a row for a team that struggled for 20 years is certainly a good accomplishment. But, yes, I think much like they do for Sean McDermott in Buffalo, questions about how is he the guy that can take the Bills to the next level and win a Super Bowl. I think there are those same questions for Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins.
So, Ben, if you were ranking the AFC East going into this season, where do the Dolphins land? And obviously the Patriots are fourth. So I guess that only leaves 3 spots.
There's going to be hell to pay if the Patriots are not fourth on your list.
Well, I've got them actually second right now, ahead of course, the Patriots are fourth. And I really want to see the Patriots play some of these preseason games because they've been looking better in these preseason practices the last week or so. But there's no contact. It's one thing.
I have to tell you, Ben. Like, we've been reading your tweets at the beginning of training camp on the air when it looked like the Patriots were an unmitigated disaster.
Well, they were. And last Monday, the first day in pads, they had 5 guys going off for practice for penalty laps because they're committing false start penalties, and Matthew Judon is, fighting with his coaches in the middle of practice and getting kicked out. It was a dumpster fire last week, and I give Gerard Mayo a lot of credit. He got it back on track pretty quickly. Judon's back in the fold, and he's still not happy about his contract, but they've cleaned up the offensive operation. They haven't been, all these penalties and sloppy play. It's looked better the last week. But when you're just practicing against your own players, it's hard to have any real context. So this is a team, the Patriots, that I really want to see how they face just against other people. But to go back to your question, Salon, I still have the Bills number one. As long as they have Josh Allen, I think they're going to be the best. I believe in Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. I think he's going to come back and have a good year. And with the Dolphins, I'm not buying them as anything more than a wild card team until they prove that they can win, clutch games in December and January.
And it's just the overall AFC. But anybody else? We know the big dog. We know Kansas City. You know what I'm saying? We know the big dogs of the AFC. We know who's going to run. The Bills have been up there. But just any of those lesser teams, Jacksonville seems like they got some swag going. I don't know. They won one playoff game 2 years ago, and they have all of anybody else in the AFC we'd be concerned with. The Ravens are going to be there. Anyone else?
Yeah, I don't know if I buy Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, to be honest. Last year, the way they collapsed was really troubling. The team that I liked as a sleeper was the Chargers. I just think Jim Harbaugh is a fantastic coach. And you look at, the immediate improvement that he brought to the 49ers and to Alex Smith. I just think Harbaugh is going to be great for Justin Herbert. They're going to get that offensive line fixed. But then Herbert, suffers that injury, the foot injury in practice. He's going to be out at least 2 weeks. He's going to miss a lot of camp. And I don't care how good you are. You need training camp. You need time with your guys. You're learning a new offense, especially. Joe Burrow missed most of training camp last week, and he was back for week one. And he struggled that first month of the season as the Bengals fell into a 1-3 hole. So I do like the Chargers, but this Justin Herbert injury is concerning me. And, I don't know if you consider the Bengals a sleeper, but I think they're going to bounce back from last year and be a top contender again. It obviously all depends on Joe Burrow's health, but I'm a big believer in him and Zach Taylor. Jamar Chase, I think they're going to get that figured out. So I think the Bengals are going to be back to being a 12-13 win team. And that's the one team that's proven they can take it to the Chiefs. So if people are sick of the Chiefs winning, root for the Bengals to get back on track this year.
Ben Volin is the senior NFL writer for the Boston Globe. We can bounce around the league a little bit as we've begun here. Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, who ends up being the quarterback in Pittsburgh?
I'll tell you what, I'm starting to think it might end up being Justin Fields. And I could see happening to Russell Wilson what happened to Cam Newton here in New England a couple years ago, where if he's not going to be the starter, I could see the Steelers releasing Russell Wilson because I don't think he would be a great guy to have as a backup. Just too big a personality, too much that comes with the Russell Wilson experience. And if you look at their contract, Russell Wilson's only making $1 million this year. Justin Fields is making $3 million. Russell Wilson's even making less than Kyle Allen, who's right now number 3 on the depth chart. So Russell Wilson's been out with a calf injury. Fields has stepped in. I think they like the running element that Fields has brought to the offense. So right now, I think it'll be Fields. But, if Russell Wilson is the quarterback early in the season, I think his leash is obviously going to be very short.
And the same situation, a little different. One's a rookie, but in Atlanta, like we know what Kirk Cousins is, and he's injured. He's not playing in the preseason. Raheem Morris already said it, but everybody wants to see what Michael Pennock Jr. could do at the next level. Do you think Kirk starts all season, or is it going to be Mike's at some point throughout this?
I'd be shocked if Kirk Cousins lost his job for performance. Coming back from Achilles, he's 36 years old. Maybe there are some games that he misses. Maybe there's an injury that keeps him out for a little bit, although he was a pretty durable guy before this injury. It's such a mess the Falcons have created for themselves by giving Cousins that big contract and then drafting Pennock with the number 8 pick. You're right. Everyone's going to want to see Pennock. And the second that Kirk Cousins throws an interception, people are going to be saying, put in the rookie. And Pennock, by all accounts, has looked pretty good at training camp so far. So if I were him, I'd be upset that Kirk Cousins and his $90 million guaranteed are in front of you. And obviously, if you're Cousins, you got to be upset that the team could have done any number of things with the number 8 pick to help you, and instead, cut you out at your legs by drafting another quarterback. So it's going to be a sticky situation for Raheem Morris to navigate. But when you spend $90 million on Kirk Cousins, I don't care if you took Pennock with the first round. I'd be shocked if Cousins lost his job due to performance this year.
That's the Dolphins' opponent on Friday for preseason game 1 is the Atlanta Falcons. Should we expect to see Michael Pennock for a half, a quarter, a series? And do you have any inclination as to whether the Dolphins would play any of the starters on Friday night?
I'd be shocked if the Dolphins played many starters, considering how Mike McDaniel is approaching training camp with, 4 to 5 veterans sitting out every day. The Dolphins returning most of their team, they do not need preseason games. They need to be healthy for week 1 and at their best at that point. So I would be shocked if the Dolphins really played anyone. Michael Pennock, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he started the game. These next few games, these are his Super Bowl. This is when, if things go according to plan for the Falcons, Pennock is going to sit this year. So if he's going to get some reps and some experience, it's got to come in these 3 preseason games. Maybe you see a little bit of Cousins just because he's in a new offense and they maybe want to get him a little work. But I think you're going to see a heavy dose of the Michael Pennock experience when he does play the Dolphins, and that should be fun. It'll be, I don't know how much the Dolphins will have to show you, but maybe the Falcons side, that'll be a fun thing to watch for you.
How's it covering the Patriots without Bill Belichick?
It's been fine. There hasn't been much buzz at camp. Your boy John Bon Jovi was at practice today with Robert Kraft.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Bon Jovi still loves the Patriots, even with Brady gone. Sorry if I don't know if you can hear these leaf blowers in the background. They weren't here when I started the interview. They're very loud right now. It sounds like I'm being
we don't hear them at all.
A swarm of bees. But
no, don't even
barely hear myself think.
We'll let you go then. Do you think Belichick will ever coach again?
Now, I will say, watch out for the Giants and I think the Eagles too. I think both those teams will be in play. But you know what? Right now, I say no. I think he's going to enjoy being away from the game this year, but still being involved. He's built a whole media empire for himself. He's going to be on Inside the NFL and the Pat McAfee show every week and the Peyton Manning cast every Monday night. And he's got his own show on YouTube now. So, Belichick will be plenty busy breaking down film. It's going to be all on his terms. He's not going to have the pressure of game day. I think he's going to like being out of the league and like having his free time. So I don't think he's going to be coaching again.
And he's got a young girlfriend. It takes up plenty of time. That's like high school romance. College romance, something like that. It's a weird romance, whatever it is. Ben Volin, he covers the NFL for the Boston Globe, and football season is upon us, and that means you get your dose of Trollin' Volin. I've never heard that before. That's a great nickname.
Oh, yeah. The Patriots fans down here, they gave me that one years ago. So anytime anything negative about the Patriots, here goes Trollin' Volin again. So I embrace it.
I love it. There you go. Ben Volin. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks a lot, guys.